Hey guys, so my phone just be off the hook all the time, you know. I had to check it real quick. So I know, as you guys can see by the title, this is not something that I don't typically put things like this on my channel, but even though I put a lot of my personal life out there, and like, you know, and my mom always talks about how I've just kind of put myself out there a certain way, and like I want to be a teacher and I want you all to learn from my experiences. I have a lot of younger viewers. I have a lot of viewers that are still in high school, middle school, and like are so young, and I want to be an example. And I am telling you this story because it was such a huge learning experience for me, and I've grown so much from it, and I have learned to love myself more because of it. What I'm saying is I just want to share an experience of mine that I had, and hopefully you can take something away from it. Disclaimer, in no way, shape, or form do I have any hate towards this person. In no way, shape, or form am I trying to give hate to this person or bash them or any of that. The relationship that we had was extremely toxic, and I know there are a lot of girls who go through things like this and they don't know what to do, and they probably are making or thinking about making the same mistakes that I did. But I'm here to tell you I'm here to just kind of like teach you and let you learn what's okay and what's not okay, and what you should accept and what you shouldn't accept, and when to stop and when to draw the line, and when to say I need to stop dealing with this person because I'm hurting myself by doing it. Also, another disclaimer, where I'm at in my life now, I'm over the situation. I'm talking about it, as I've already stated, to share a story of mine, to hope that someone can learn from my experience. And where I'm at in my life now, I'm in a very happy and secure place in my life and in the relationships that I have. So yeah, let's get started. This is not a very happy story. It's actually pretty upsetting, because I don't know why I was so excited to talk about it. So I met who I'm going to call Dub when I was 16 years old. Everything was cool, you know, we were vibing with each other. He was so funny, he was so sweet. He told me he liked me, and then like I met him in the summer before my junior year. So when the school year started, we went out with some of my friends and saw a movie and ate. Super awkward. But we did vibe really well. We got along very well, and I realized that he's literally the male version of me. So everything was cool. I thought that he was such a good guy. When I am like starting to get more serious with someone, and I'm using the term serious very loosely, but it's just the only thing I can think of right now, I don't just like to be with anyone. I'm very picky about that. He was super nice. He was really funny, and he was very driven and hardworking. He's to this day still one of the most hardworking people I've ever met, and if he wants something, he's gonna go get it. And that was something that was very attractive to me. And I just want to say to you, if you're watching this, I'm so proud of you and how far you've come and who you've become over the past few years. It's been so cool just watching your growth and just watching your success, and like, more power to you for living out your dream. I was talking about how I wanted to go to Music Midtown like so bad and everything, and he was like, oh yeah, like okay, I usually go and like stuff like this when we were talking about it, but like I wasn't really able to get tickets, and so that was that. But I just really wanted to go. So he calls me and he's like, I have good news and bad news. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, what do you want first? And of course I'm like, the bad news. So he was admitted to talking to another girl. He's like, it wasn't anything serious, like, and we weren't dating at the time, so it really wasn't like a huge deal. But at the same time, looking back, that should have been a red flag for me, just the way that he acted about the situation, he treated the situation. But he just admitted to talking to the girl, and he said that he wanted to tell me because he just felt bad about it. And that was something that I really respected, because even though we're not together, for you to come to me and admit where you feel like you've made a mistake, that's really like big. So please ignore my background. I'm so lazy that I didn't even want to hang this up. Like I'm lazy, and I just don't feel like hanging up my lights again. I'm sorry. It's honesty, but I was still very much upset because I just don't feel like that's right. Like, I get it, we're only talking, but I don't know, I just didn't like it. So the good news was that he would be able to take me to Music Midtown, and I was like, okay. And I remember him saying something along the lines of like, so I'm assuming that now you don't want to go with me. or like how do you feel about that, something along those lines. Which looking back now, that's really a shady thing to say. I said I'll still go. Like I said I would think about it, but I ended up going. So we went to Museum of Town. This was like early September of 2015, I believe. And we went and we had so much fun. That really was when I realized that I actually really liked him. And it was like, you know how when you like feel like sparks and like fireworks when you're with someone, and like, yeah, it was really cute. We had a lot of good memories there, and everything went well. You know, I met his family. They're like some of the sweetest people that I've ever met in my entire life. And we just had a lot of fun. So then after that, I believe he met my dad, and he came over and had dinner with me, my sister, my dad, and then afterwards we watched movies. And I will admit, my dad was intimidating. My dad said some things that I don't personally agree with, and I don't think that he should have said to him, but it happened. And then while we were there, we were watching a movie, one of my favorite movies, and my best friend Amanda had texted me, and she was like, yo, like the state fair is coming soon. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I love fairs. Like if you know me, you know I love fairs. I love amusement parks. I love roller coasters. I love just like the atmosphere of like funnel cake and like a whole bunch of people. So if anybody wants to take it to an amusement park or a fair, like if you're trying to go, like let me know because I'm there. So we decided to go on October 2nd. And literally this whole situation was so traumatizing for me that I remember all the details of it. That's insane. But I also like was a huge planner person at the time. Like I had my planner, I would write down every single thing in my planner and like decorate it all cute. And I had my planner with me, and I remember texting my friend. I remember talking to him while he was there with me in person. And we were like, okay, we're gonna go to the fair. And I think it was like maybe a week or two away. And we were gonna go, and he agreed to it to go on October 2nd. It was like a double date situation, and I remember writing it down in my notebook with a Ferris wheel and everything. Like I was so excited. And then after he left, I remember kissing him goodbye, and that actually was the last time that I saw him for a while. And before that, like we were hanging out a lot, and like I went to his sister's birthday, I went to his house, and like that stuff happened before. And then after he met my dad, that was the last time I saw him for a while. And so I remember he called me that night, and he apologized because he had tricked me. He asked me, okay, I remember. Okay, so he asked me, we're sitting on the couch watching my favorite movie, and he was like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I was like, yes. And he was like, I'm just kidding. That's a huge red flag. Like, why would you ever do that to someone? Why would you ever ask someone to be your girlfriend and then said that you were just kidding? I was super upset by that. But yeah, so he called me later that night, and he was like, hey, like, because we had fall break for our county at that time. He was like, hey, like, we're going to see my grandfather. His grandfather was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, just like my grandmother. And he was like, can you come to the Carolinas with me to go meet my grandfather? Which, one, I was really surprised by, because he just played me and joked with me about being your girlfriend. And I just took that as like, wow, like he really likes me because he wants me to like come meet his grandfather like before he passes. Like that's so sweet. Okay, side note, at the time that I met him, months before my grandma had passed away, and it's something that I had not come to terms with for like that whole year. So I had met him recently after my grandmother passed away, and at this point it's a year later, and the fair was the day before the first anniversary of my grandmother's death. Anyway, he asked me to go, and I said no because it was my mom's birthday weekend, and it was her first birthday without her mother, and the anniversary of my grandmother's death was coming up in a few weeks. And I knew that I needed to be there for her because she was having such a hard time. So I told him no, because it was the same time that we were supposed to go. I was supposed to go away with her to as a family, we were going on a family trip, and like it was just so she could get away for her birthday and just kind of like, you know, like just relax and just like be okay. But I knew she was dealing with a tough time, so I told him no, because I knew that being with her was more important. And I know for so long I regretted not going with him, which is so messed up. But I was young, and like I regretted not going with him because I thought that maybe our relationship would have been better if I would have went, because maybe I hurt him by not going. So I told him no. He said okay, and then the fair was coming up. So I think maybe a few days before. It was close before it was happening. I was looking so forward to it. And he hits me up and he's like, hey, like, so, you know, we're playing our rival school on Friday, and like football's a huge thing in Georgia in high school. He's like, and like I just really want to go to this game, but it's the same day as the fair. And I was like, you know, like it's a senior year, so I was like, you know, that's fine, like go ahead, have a good time, I totally understand, it's fine. But like on the inside I was really hurt, not only because we weren't gonna go to the fair, which I was looking forward to, but also because he didn't invite me to go to the game with him, or invite me to reschedule, or invite me to hang out at all. And he just kind of was like, well, I'm gonna go do this instead. But then he did say, well, like if you want, homecoming is that Saturday, so it would be the anniversary of my grandmother's death, October 3rd. He was like, homecoming is there and I would love to take you. And I was just like, okay, cool. But at first I was really hesitant, and I told him this. I was like, I don't know, because it's the anniversary of my grandmother's death, and like it's something that I'm still just kind of like upset over, and I don't want to be in a bad mood around people I don't know on the anniversary of my grandmother's death. But after thinking about it and finding out 2 of my other friends were going to be there, I felt more comfortable, and I was like, you know what, this could actually be a distraction for me. This could be a way for me to not think about it, and like it might help with my grief process. So I told him I would go. So I went, I found a dress. I tried on dresses for hours, y'all. Like I was trying to find shoes to wear, and I scheduled a hair appointment to get my hair done and everything. And we didn't have homecoming at my school, so I was like really looking forward to it. I'm like, I've never been to a homecoming dance before, so this should be fun. And so then the day before, he was like, so like I couldn't get the ticket. Like I only got 1 ticket, I couldn't get 2. And in my head I'm like, that's BS, because my friend who doesn't go to your school, and her friend goes to your school, and she goes to school with me, got a ticket because her friend had someone else get it for them. Like, and that just really like irritated me, and that was like the second red flag, because now you're playing games. After that situation happened, he ghosted. Like I did not hear from him until around his birthday, which was about a month and a half later. And I wished him happy birthday, and we talked, and getting into different relationships, but we still maintained contact. I would see him occasionally. I remember one time, I think at the time I was not in a relationship, but he was with this girl. After him telling me he did not want to be in a relationship at all, he didn't think he was ready for a relationship, and he didn't want to do that to himself because he wasn't ready to handle a relationship. And so he said all this stuff, and he was like with this girl, and I remember going to his house because he texted me and told me that his mom wanted to see me. So I went, and I drove over there, whatever, and I went, and I also wanted to see the baby chickens. So that's really why I went, because I was like, oh, I want to see the baby chickens. But then he came, and I remember he came in the door, he was like, hey, and he like threw a Snickers at me because I was sitting on the floor. And at the time I was a Snickers addict. Like I ate a Snickers a day. It was really bad. I remember he gave me Snickers, and like I was just kind of like, oh, like annoyed because he threw it at me, but I was also like, wow, like he brought me Snickers, like he really cares about me. I remember I got into relationships pretty soon after that, and he would complain to me all the time about his girlfriend. And I remember I wasn't happy in my relationship. The guy I was with was very controlling and had an obsessive tendencies, and like he made me uncomfortable. And so I remember like I wanted to break up with him, but I felt bad, so I didn't. But I remember like me and Dub would always talk about the relationships we were in and how much we couldn't stand being in them. And he would always talk about how much he couldn't stand the things that this girl did, and how much his mom didn't like her, and how she likes me so much better. And how he was with that girl for a while, and I was with a guy for a bit of time too. So some time had passed, and eventually we were like on good terms. We were talking regularly, and we both got out of our relationships. So then of course I'm like, well, like now he's single, I'm single, and like I wanted this boy so bad. So I was like, let me try and get with him. And we had talked about it, you know, and he would always tell me about how much he cared about me, and he would always tell me how he wanted to marry me, and how badly he wanted to be with me, and how I'm perfect, and how I'm like made for him, and all this stuff. And that stuck with me, and I'm just like, wow, like because I cared about this guy so much, because I wanted to be with this guy so much, because I had such a strong connection with this guy, I just let him say all those things to me, and I accepted it, and I believed him. this was going on for a while, just us talking back and forth and like flirting with each other and talking about how we loved each other and da 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 da, this and that. He told me he wanted to be with me and this and that, and I remember I once again became so involved in him. I really liked him. I realized that what I was doing was so bad and what I was doing was not good for me, and I was embarrassed. I embarrassed myself, and I was so broken and I was so hurt, and I felt worthless at this point in our whole ordeal that's been going on for like 2 years now. Me and my friend Kayla, shout out to you, girl, I love you, I miss you. We were having a girls' night out, and I was so happy. I was so happy where I was happy being out with her. I was happy because me and him were in such a good place, and like I was just like, finally, like I'm going to get the guy that I've wanted for so long. But I just felt like something was wrong. And I remember I kept saying to Kayla, I'm just like, something's not right, something's not right. And she's like, girl, what are you talking about? Like looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm just like, I feel like he's gonna pull something. Like I feel like he's gonna pull something tonight. We're leaving, we're driving back, it's late, and I'm just like, still just in a weird place, but I'm like, whatever. So we pull up to my house, and he texts me and he says, I need to tell you something. And I'm literally sitting there like, I knew it. Like I knew something was wrong. I just knew it. So I was like, yo, like he just texted me. So she's like, all right, see what he wants. So we're sitting in her car outside of my house. The car is still running. And I remember he was like, so I'm back with my ex. Excuse me, what? You're back with your ex after telling me that you wanted to be with me. You're back with your ex after talking so much crap about her. I was broken. I literally remember looking at my phone, and I remember sobbing. Kayla looked at me like I was like about to die. Like she was so confused. She was like, what is going on? And I showed her, and I'm like, how can you do this? Like I'm just like hysterical. And so we drive to the gas station, and we get like just like some comfort food, because that's really my way of coping. He said because she had some family issues going on, and I was like, why can't you be there as a friend? Then he just started ignoring me, and I can get why, because I was being hysterical and I was being dramatic, and I'm sure he was like, what is wrong with this girl? I remember calling him the next morning crying, and he wasn't answering, and I kept calling him, which I shouldn't have done. That's so embarrassing. I kept calling him, and I'm just like, why don't you want to be with me? Like, what is it about me? Why don't you want to be with me? What's wrong with me? Why don't you want to be with me? And I don't even remember what he said. And then after that, we didn't speak until March. He hit me up and sent me something, and I responded something. He said, I love you and only you, just remember. That's what he texted me. And we just were talking like we were on really good terms. I acted like that whole incident in January never happened, and he literally told me he wanted to be with me and then left me for the same girl, and they were together up until this point, I'm pretty sure, as well. But I just remember me feeling like I was missing something, me feeling like I wasn't worth something, because I've been dealing with this guy for like 2 years now, and I thought that he loved me, I thought that he cared about me, I thought that he wanted to be with me, but he would never want to actually be with me. And he kept saying, well, I'm saving myself for you, I'm saving myself for you because you're so great and because you're so amazing and awesome and this and that, when I'm mature enough to handle a real relationship. And to me, that's just BS. If a guy tells you that, drop him, because guys use that excuse all the time. If a guy sits up and he tells you that he's saving you for later, you're a side piece at that point. You're a side piece. You're somebody that he knows he can always go back to when he wants something, whether that be sex, whether that be a shoulder to lean on. There's no need for somebody to save themselves for you, to save you for later, to say, well, I don't want to be with you right now while I'm in my hoe phase, but I want to be with you later down the line when it's time for me to settle down and get married. Guys say things like that all the time to girls, and you need to not allow them to treat you like that. I don't care how much you want to be with them. I don't care how cute you think you are. I don't care if you think you're in love with them. No, they're not for you. They don't value you enough. They don't value your time, your emotions. They don't value you enough to even want to take the time out to change themselves for you. And frankly, guys, young guys this age, teenagers, early 20s, a lot of them are only looking for one thing, and that's a quickie. That's someone to have sex with. And as unfortunate as it is, it's the truth. Like, after I started college and stuff, we were still talking, and I still was like, wow, like I really don't want to be with anybody but him. And that was so stupid of me, because I could have, and I did do so much better. No shade to him. I think too, like, I tried to like make excuses for him a lot, and I tried to put it on me, like, well, I'm not, you know, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not good enough for him. Like, maybe I need to do better. But in reality, he needed to do better. And those years of the hell that he put me through, I have learned to love myself so much more, and I have learned what love is and what love isn't, and I have become so much stronger. And it might seem like I'm being dramatic, but you didn't go through this, you know. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been heartbroken. I don't know if you guys have ever gone through something where someone is constantly telling you one thing and then doing another, which frankly is emotional abuse, but it's telling you that they love you and they care about you, but constantly treating you like shit. And I don't like to curse on my channel like that, but like, that's the blatant facts. You have someone sitting here telling you I love you, telling you I like you, I care about you, I want to marry you someday, but on the other hand is, you know, saying these same things to other girls and actually being with them and actually going out on dates with them. And like, that's something that I never got from him. But at the same time, I allowed him to treat me that way. He would not have treated me that way if I didn't allow him to, and I allowed him to, and that's on me. And that's because I was not secure enough in myself to realize my own self-worth, and I didn't have enough self-love to know that what he was doing was wrong. And I think going through the traumatic experience that I went through that happened at the time of me dealing with him definitely contributed to it, because I was in such a bad place, because I was so vulnerable. It made it easy. But now I've learned to, one, never get involved with somebody when you're in a vulnerable place, where you're in a place where you cannot love somebody if you don't love yourself, and that's fact. And at the time, I did not love myself. Clearly, I didn't have any self-worth. I didn't have any security in who I was. But today, like, looking back, I know, like, none of it's my fault. The only thing that I was guilty of is being insecure. Like I said, no hard feelings to him. This is nothing towards him, because I don't want to be with him, and I'm in a happy relationship. But I just wanted to address this and just like share a learning experience, because I know I have a lot of young viewers, and I want you guys to feel self-love, and I want you guys to know your worth. So yeah, that was my toxic relationship story. I know how I should be treated in a relationship. I know my self-worth, and I know what I deserve, and I know who I am. And I have so much more confidence now after that. I have so much more self-love. So yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.